Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, February 15th, 2019. And I got to tell you, the border deal just looks like a disaster to me. I mean, Congress sends an open border bill to President Trump. This has been voted on by the U.S. Senate. I think it was 83 to 16. One person wasn't there. 83 in favor of this. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable. The headlines coming out are saying that, epic immigration sneak loaded with last-minute landmines. Congress sends Trump a open border bill. Some of the more disastrous things in it was that it's less of a wall than the Democrats already wanted to send. It contains blatant amnesty for the worst smugglers, people who do child trafficking. It gives more funding to manage and induce the invasion instead of curtail it. It also allows sheriffs to override, to veto whether they want to have a wall in their county. I mean, can you imagine that? A local sheriff deciding what kind of a border to have? I mean, that's down to a local sheriff. Now, Trump says he's going to announce an emergency order, but if he signs this legislation, it's the biggest biggest sellout you can actually have. And this is me talking here. I'm a pro-Trump guy. I mean, you know why people like Tom Tillis like it, because, they double the low-skilled workers, the HB2 non-agriculture unskilled seasonal workers who will be continue to be, coming into the country, even double it, make it worse. Here we have the Republicans wanting more low-skilled work. Everybody's selling out the taxpayer. Everybody's selling out the common American. I mean, the whole reason for the wall was to stop the invasion, stop the human trafficking, stop the drugs, stop the fentanyl, stop the cocaine, stop the heroin, stop all this, all these illegal voters. I mean, the Democrats have to flood the zone. Laura Ingraham says this just emboldens, chain migration. This is chain migration on steroids. I don't know who negotiated this on the Republican side, but they call it a breakthrough. It wasn't a breakthrough. It was a capitulation. And then I don't know if the president signs this, how I think his hands are going to be severely tied. It's very disappointing. I got to tell you, I am extremely disappointed if he signs this bill. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. I don't know. Peter Schiff is talking about how this is the beginning of the end. He's out with a new interview. He's been on USA Watchdog many times. Makes a lot of sense. Very good with numbers. He and Pinto and a lot of other people are smart with the numbers. And he said this again. He said this on our air at USA Watchdog. People are going to realize that we checked into the Monterey Roach Motel that I've talked about from the very beginning, that there's no way out. And the dollar is going to fall like a stone. Now, is President Trump freaking out that he sees signs of the economy shaking, the economy breaking? Is he going to sign this? He has the Senate basically voted in a veto-proof matter. I believe it's 83 to 16 and passed this. The Democrats have $1 trillion spending bill. Nobody's going to read it before they pass it. It's just unbelievable. The Democrats or Republicans, I guess. This is. We'll see how this works out. I'm praying that Grassley's on the floor of the Senate praying the president's going to sign this bill. All these people are all destroying America. You're going to sign a bill that turbocharges illegal immigration and chain migration and less beds and no more officers for the war we have on the border. This is unbelievable. Now, Donald Trump is thinking about, according to my sources, having a state of emergency, and he can, come up with billions of dollars for this wall. There's the El Chapo money. There's all kinds of other money. But if he signs this, he's actually handcuffing himself. There's certain places where the border can only be a fence, that they want the design to be 2017 and earlier. This is a capitulation. And what the Republicans got were some more cheap workers for their industries. They just are globalists as well. And who loses? The common American loses. The common American loses. The people that put Donald Trump into office are the people who who are going to lose. One of the things that I wanted to bring up is about this economy is that, quietly, and I brought this up last week, but this is very instructional, right? Gold's at 13, 16. Central banks have been all buying gold. You know why the central banks have been buying gold? And all central banks, because otherwise they'd be buying somebody else's currency. Our enemies used to hold U.S. Treasury bonds. I mean, Russia used to be a holder. Why? Because, the debt was good. It paid a good interest rate, and it would always pay off. I don't know if that's going to be the case in the future, but central banks have been buying gold since the 2008-2009 meltdown. They know this was never fixed. They know this was buying time. They know this is the monetary Roach Motel, and so they've been buying gold all the while, thumping the price down, pressing the price down. Silver, the same thing. It still was above $16 an ounce for a while. Now it's the mid 15s. But gold is at 13, 12. We live in very interesting times, folks. One of the other things that Peter Schiff talked about is you can't normalize rates when you have this kind of exponential debt. We have exponential debt. We have unbelievable debt. And we don't need a big hiccup for the bonds to default and the economy to daisy chain and spiral into a big mess. We really don't need a big takedown. I will tell you that there's this video being passed around about all these MH60s, or these little eagles or little birds flying into Los Angeles, and they said it was training, but according to Dave Janda, not training. Dave Janda is going to be the guest for the early Sunday release. He's going to come on and talk to us about what went on out there, about all the 4D chess being played. I also talked to him about this open border bill is what it is. To entice invasion in America, and more chain migration and less fencing and tying the hands of Donald Trump. But we'll see. He has not signed it as I'm delivering this to you. They the White House says he'd sign it, but I'm like, really? I mean, this is an unbelievable crap sandwich. And if he's listening to this, please, Mr. President, don't sign it. Please don't sign it. It'd be better for you just to shut the government down some more. Maybe he's afraid that they will veto him. Actually, that if he doesn't sign it, then in 10 days. Then they can veto him. They can pass it anyway, or in 10 days it becomes law, I believe. They don't have to veto him. He doesn't have to veto it. He can just not sign it. But if he doesn't, it becomes law anyway, I believe, in 10 days. If he vetoes it, then they got to override his veto, but it looks like the Senate has the votes for that. They're all, the 83 people who voted for it were 83 senators who are engaged in treason because they're selling us out. I know I'm really upset, folks. I really do believe that the Democrats' only hope to win in 2020 is to flood the zone. Is no matter how much crackdown on voter fraud, they'll have so many illegal voters voting that by the time they do an investigation, sorry, we're in control now, and, sorry, we're in charge now, no more investigation, there's no evidence of that. So I'm really not very upbeat. I had Mark Taylor on, and he was talking about how people should be upbeat, but everything I read on this in the least part of the immigration package, not to mention all the pork. I mean, they're building walls in foreign countries. They're coming up with $5 billion to build walls, like in Middle East and Eastern Europe. They're coming up with money to build walls for them, but not for us. I mean, it's just or $1.3 billion what they're offering before, with all kinds of restrictions. I mean, this is worse than it was before. Dave Janda will be the guest for the early Sunday release. I am praying, not like Grassley, who knew this was a crap sandwich, Senator Grassley from Iowa. I'm praying that we have some divine intervention and that things will work out to the favor of the hardworking Americans who are having to pay for all this illegal immigration. And so with that, I will leave you. Dave Janda, early Sunday release. I'm coming to you from a farm. Oh, last thing. Coming to you from a farm in Missouri. And wow, the weather out here has been so cuckoo, crazy, nutty. Today it's 58 degrees was a high temperature. Tomorrow the high will be 22. One day it was 50. The next day it was 5 above. water, rain, weather whiplash, what Dane Wigington at geoengineeringwatch.org talks about. This is the prime example of weather whiplash, and it is happening. Unbelievable. Everybody's talking about the whiplash, about the high temperatures, cold temperatures, tons of rain, drought. I mean, it was so bad this year that some of the springs that ran all the time dried up. Lakes were down multiple feet, almost at record territory. Now everything's completely full. So I want to know what the spring planting and what that'll look like. If you can either get too much water and you can't get your tractor out in the field, you just have big ruts, or you can be so dry that nothing will come up. So, we'll see. Listen, folks, I will say, no matter what, don't give up your faith. I know I complained a lot. I know I'm really, really upset about this border capitulation, not breakthrough. But listen, you got to prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all, spiritually. God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, are firmly in control. And thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com with your donations and your comments. I got some of the smartest people on the internet. Again, fear not.